You're about to lose your job, and you're about to lose your job to artificial intelligence, especially if you work in anything related to customer services or any of that sort of stuff. Even if you work in HR, you're about to lose your job. And I'll tell you why. Yesterday, I tried to call eBay and I was put onto the usual eBay telephone line, but the entire thing was handled by AI. And normally, well, back in the day before the AI days, they had these voice recordings that tried to, direct people that they were like voice recording in the place of a receptionist or a switchboard. The point of having that was to make sure that all the calls are directed to the correct teams. But now the artificial intelligence devices are trying to actually replace those people that you're supposed to talk to. And instead of transferring me to a human being at the end, it told me they were out of hours because they've moved to this new system where the setup that people have in their eBay when they set it up might be in a different locale. So some people set up their account in America and then they move to the UK or vice versa. But in the system, it's still set to .com. Their time zones aren't properly set. Or even they set it up in the UK, but they didn't set the time zone in the back. So the computer categorizes them in a different shop that is supposed to be. So their office hours are supposed to line up with wherever they are. And they just tell them that, no, sorry, we're closed, even though the office is the same. Complete mess, but I'm sure they'll iron that out in the long run. But the whole point is, the AI system that's been installed now is only a beta test for what's to come. So if you're an agent that works as customer services for eBay or Amazon or any of those companies, you are systematically being replaced. Whatever work that you're doing now for eBay, answering calls, all that sort of stuff, that's just information to train the AI chatbot thing to replace you. Now they've already done replacement on the type-in chats that used to get in the corner where some human beings used to be on the other side. That's been completely replaced. The next step is to auto replace all of the audio ones as well, because the AI voice is now good enough to either trick people or that people don't think that they don't realize that they're not human beings, or they're good enough to solve people's problems. And the better they get, they're only going to get better from here. And the better they get, the easier it is to replace you. So if I were you, I'll do one of two things. I'll start to look for a new job that is going to be non-AI related or not easy to replace by AI, i.e. I'll start training as a plumber or carpenter or something like that. Something that you can do in the 3D world that it's not going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. The second thing I'll be doing is if you can't beat them, join them. I'll be studying AI itself. Maybe go do a course on AI programming, AI implementation. Actually, the programming end of AI is a little bit difficult because unless you have a computer science or computer engineering or programming experience or degree or something like that, it's going to be hard for you to understand that process. If you already are a computer engineer or computer scientist, but you're not in the AI field and you're doing your customer services job because of that, I would go and train as an AI person, okay? If you're not in that field, then I'll go do a course that shows me how to use AI to create content or create stuff for other people, or how to implement AI for other businesses, and start applying for those jobs, maybe even within your same organization. So those guys that are coding AI to replace you at your job, at Amazon, at eBay, they trained to do that job. Maybe you also go train to do that job so you can be the one that is directing the AI. In this world that we're going now, there's no point whining and moaning about it. What you can do is take proactive action and do something about it now. If you're a young person and you're watching this, you're like 14, 15, whatever, you've got time and you've got your young, fresh mind, make sure that you are AI ready. Now, I'm old enough to remember the time when the internet happened and, computers came in and keyboards and people started typing. The people that suffered from that were secretaries and typists, right? Because first of all, they wouldn't hire you if you didn't have computer experience, or if you weren't internet savvy. Also, not many of you were needed anymore. Executives were now typing stuff for themselves. You had, voice dictation. You now had word processors that could correct your spelling. And that ended that sort of line of careers for most people. That used to be a major profession back in the day, but now, those professions are few and far between. And the same thing is going to happen to customer services, client support, anything to do with calling people and solving problems over the phone. That's all going to be taken by AI. So if I were you, I would start to train up on AI. Just get to use ChatGPT, for instance, or Google Gemini or Claude. Just pick one. That's if you don't already use it. You should already be using this stuff on your phones, to ask questions and stuff. I'm going to do a completely different video about how that's going to replace Google search engines and stuff as well. But ask Google Gemini or ChatGPT to recommend one AI training program for you, or even create one for you. That's the beauty of AI. Even those courses that are making money online now, by the way, some people are making millions selling courses on how to do this. But you don't actually have to buy any of those courses. All you have to do is go into AI, again, pick one, get to know how to use it, okay, and start typing into it, start using it, familiarize yourself with it, and then get it to create you. If you go to Google Gemini, there's a new learn something, right? So click on that and say, learn how to be an AI person, choose a profession, find one online, and get that profession, get the requirements, right? Where to type the requirements, put that into Google Gemini. It says, train me to become this person. And Google Gemini will spit out all sorts of links and all sorts of things for you to learn, and start familiarizing, set up an account and start creating AI stuff, okay? Get a website, start publishing stuff for free. And at some point, someone's going to see your work and you can get hired, or you can start creating a business for yourself. Because again, this world that we're moving into, there are going to be fewer and fewer and fewer jobs for everybody, especially if you live out in the West. In the UK, we're cooked completely. I can't believe people can't see what's coming. We're completely finished. There aren't any jobs around. The only people who are going to have jobs in the next couple of years are plumbers, electricians, carpenters, gardeners and stuff, like people who do things in real life, barbers, even though people are starting to barb their own hair, so that's a problem. But, child minders, those are the people who are going to be able to get any kind of jobs. If you have any traditional jobs, and if you think your job is safe, you're a doctor, you're an accountant, you're a lawyer, AI is coming for your jobs too. In fact, it is actually quite easy to replace a lawyer or an accountant with AI, because again, AI is mathematics. AI doesn't know the nuances perhaps, but it's only a matter of time before the work that you're doing right now is used by these AI companies to train their large language models to replace you. Already in parts of the world, there are beta tested, there are pilot programs that are being basically run right now to provide medical diagnosis for people who live in remote areas, in poor countries, in South America, in Africa and Asia. So these are AI doctors, basically chatbot doctors that have been spawned and trained up on all of the medical information that is available on the internet. And it's only a matter of time before places like the NHS start to install AI doctors and stuff. Look, if you think this isn't coming, you better think twice. The people who are most affected, by the way, are the people who are living out in Western countries, so-called industrialized nations, the United States, European countries, Japan, etc. They've had these cushy jobs this whole time. All those jobs are going to go. Unfortunately, AI is going to replace everything. There was a gentleman, I can't remember his name now. He wrote an interesting article nearly 10 years ago in the United States. And this was when there was a lot of uprising and uproar about illegal immigrants coming in from the south of the border, from Mexico, Honduras and Guatemala and other places. And people were like, oh, they're taking our jobs. They're doing these low paid stuff, or they're doing the same job but accepting low pay. They're competing with us. They're driving down the cost. And this gentleman wrote an interesting article. I'll see if I can find that article. Who said, yes, this might be a problem. You might perceive this to be a problem. But if you are an unskilled worker or what have you, or even some of the middle class skilled stuff, your main problem isn't the Mexican dude that came across the border. Your main problem is that dude in that university, in Harvard, in at MIT, at Stanford, at in the UK at Harvard, and in the UK at Cambridge, Oxford. That's your problem. That's the dude that is researching every day, doing that PhD research on how to replace you using automated systems like computers, artificial intelligence. Nobody knew what the heck he was talking about that time. Their mind, it just went right over people's heads. And now in 2026, what he predicted is becoming reality. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. So if you're in customer services, know that your job is in imminent danger, okay? Because, AI bots, they don't need to get paid. AI bots don't need a tea break. AI bots don't need holidays. They have no human rights. They have no managers. They have nothing. They're just going to churn out and churn out and churn out nonstop. And when it becomes cost effective for these companies, they're going to move to it, okay? And there is no sense of loyalty. There's no sense of, they don't care about, you already know this as a customer service, smile and dial personnel. No matter what they say, you're already working under pretty bad conditions, mostly, where you're paid as little as possible and you're expected to answer hundreds and hundreds of calls an hour, with very little regard for your well-being. This is a very common, I'm not saying that all call centers are like this. I've actually worked when I was a student back in the day in some call centers, and some were actually quite okay. But more often than not, you're just a number, easily replaceable. When you burn out, they're just going to hire somebody else to replace you. So it's only a matter of time before they just get rid of all of you, get a nice data center with an AI agent or multiple AI agents who can take hundreds and hundreds of calls simultaneously. No need for human beings anymore. So sorry to be the one to deliver this terrible news, but the silver lining is you are not early, but still able to do something about it, which is to not see your future as the manager of some place like that. Rather, maybe pivot into the new world, which is AI, okay? Already now in 2026, a lot of young people who are very sharp, very capable, especially actually in third world countries, are making bank being AI specialists, okay? And that's going to be the buzzword. Every single job in 2028, or probably even before that, is going to require you to have some kind of AI knowledge. Just like all the jobs now that are in the offices and stuff require you to have computer knowledge or some sort of internet or keyboard savvy. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section.